Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. It's time to take a look at July 2024 GPU prices, and this month we've got Amazon Prime Day sales. Not only are we going to take a look at the best GPUs right now for 1080p, 1440p, and 4K PC gaming, but we're going to take a look at which GPUs will likely see significant discounts during Prime Day, Newegg Fantastic, and all the other sales. Remember, if you get value out of this video, please give it a like as it makes a huge difference to the channel, and subscribe for more cool PC content. With that, let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by VIP SCDKey. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows licenses and that terrible Activate Windows watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SCDKey and get a Windows 10 or 11 OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 25% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom! Windows is fully licensed for a crazy low price. And Windows 10 can be upgraded for free to Windows 11. And they have Microsoft Office licenses too. Use the links in the video description. Let's go through 2024 GPU prices. We're going to start off on the AMD side, then we'll go to Intel and NVIDIA. I'm filming this like a week or so before Prime Day, about a week before Prime Day. And we're already seeing discounts with like Newegg's Fantastic Sale and others kind of influencing some of these prices. But I do expect some pretty steep discounts for Prime Day and for Newegg's Fantastic Sale. We'll go through those separately after we punch through current US pricing. Right now, we'll take a look at some of the deals that I think are going to drop. Let's start off with the high-end side. RX 7900 XTX AMD, I don't know what you're doing with this GPU. Why did you go back to 909? This GPU should be coming down in price, is just my commentary here. I just see that none of them have really budged. Even the models themselves, 909 there's only one model out there. It seems like the price is floating up. Although I will say the number of models out there has decreased significantly. It's entirely possible we're hearing that AMD has ceased production of at least this GPU, the higher end stuff. So maybe this is just the end of the road. RX 7900 XT continues to be a pretty good value out there at $689 right now. And honestly, there's a lot of models right around that $689. Obviously, the XFX model, pretty good one. But if you want the all-white one, that's $699. So really, really good values out there. I know we're waiting for RX 8000 series GPUs, but that's probably the first quarter of 2025, which should bring us about this level of performance for a cheaper price point. We'll talk more about that in the news in just a moment. That being said, these are pretty good values. For the RX 7900 GRE, this is one I really do expect a lot of Prime Day discounts on. Right now, $519. There was a $499 model out there, a $499 model for a very brief flash sale. I think they were kind of testing the waters. So this is one I'm definitely keeping my eye on. And one company you should be keeping your eye on is Acer. Acer is now manufacturing a lot more AMD GPUs, not just in their pre-built systems, which they typically do as an OEM, but now just kind of on the market as well. So Acer now has their Bifrost model here for $529, and they've got this Radeon RX 7900 GRE model, but this is their Nitro one, and honestly, it's super thin. I think this is really aimed at folks who are looking to do either ITX or very small form factor builds because it's super compact. Love to see it. Love to see GPUs kind of go back to where they were. $519 right now over at Newegg. And 7800 XT dropping to $459. The best value GPU out there probably right now. Got even better. That's right. I don't know how. And again, it's Acer Nitro. Now, this is a model. I haven't seen any reviews of this model by any outlets yet. It essentially just hit the market. It is a smaller form factor. It is a little bit more compact. I don't know if the backplate is metal or if it's plastic. I don't know what the cooler performance on this is. I'm eager to see it, but honestly, $459, that's hard to argue with. Then we've got the RX 7700 XT down to $369. This time it's actually not Acer, it's PowerColor, another AMD brand basically cutting prices. $10 promo code with a $379 price out there takes that to $369. This GPU is beginning to get into the position of the 6700 XT from last year when it was about that $350 to $360 price point, and it started being an insane value. This is an absolutely insane value if you don't have this next GPU in your market. And the next GPU, of course, is the RX 6800. There's only one model. It's at Newegg. I believe there's also an Amazon listing for it. $349 for the RX 6800, performs almost identically to the 7700 XT. They kind of trade blows in different games, and it has 16 gigs of VRAM versus the 12 on the 7700 XT. impossible to ignore. I know this is for a lot of international markets out there. You're like, where is this thing? Doesn't exist anymore. I believe this is kind of a relic in the US, so I'm not going to spend too much time with it. But if you can find this GPU, and on Prime Day, might even be a better value. And then as we head towards about $300, we got the RX 7600 XT, kind of back up to $309. But that is because the one that was $299 just a moment ago, I was so excited about, the Acer Nitro one, obviously it's sold out. It's sold out. So I will want to see if in the next couple hours they drop another one to $299 and see if they also sell that one out with 16 gigs of VRAM. But honestly, the big mover and shaker continues to be the 6750 XT and 6700 XT 12 gigabyte GPU. If you have these in your market, these are insane values. It looks like XFX is the last kind of holdout. There's an ASRock model here that I think maybe for Prime Day, we might see a massive discount on. I'll keep my eye on that one for you. But $289, I mean, that's super cheap for an insanely performative GPU. And then we got the RX 6600 dropping down to $179. AMD just trying to hold on to the lower end of the market. Let's quickly jump over to Intel GPU pricing, and I want to give them an award. I want to give them an award for the most improved this month, the most improved. Why is that? Not just for what they've done with the GPU prices, which we'll go through, because they are cutting GPU prices, but recent testing by Hardware Box, check that video out if you haven't seen it, found that with Intel GPUs, about 95% or so of the games that they threw at, or hundreds of games, worked just fine on it or only needed some really minor tweaks. So 2 thumbs up there. And as we noted in our CPU video, they're also slashing CPU prices to finally be more competitive in the DIY PC market. So we absolutely love to see it. They have more work to do though. Let's start off with the A580. No real price change, $149 though, $149. And I will say these GPUs with this fantastic price protection on top of it, I suspect we're gonna see big GPU price cuts. How much cheaper can you get than $149? We're about to find out, I think. Then we've got the A750 down $20 to $179, huge price cuts. And the A770, 16 gigabyte down to $269. But I will say Intel, you got AMD kind of hot on your heels with a more performative 16 gigabyte GPU for not that much more, and a more performative 12 gigabyte GPU for about $20 more. So maybe you need some more price cuts. All right, let's jump into NVIDIA GPU pricing July 2024. Look at all that price degradation we've got out there. That's something that we're not used to with NVIDIA GPUs over time. And this is before Prime Day. This is before Newegg's Fantastic or any of the other sales out there. I do think we're going to see a couple of these models go on sale. Typically, NVIDIA does not do big discounts around major sales like Black Friday or Prime Day or anything else. But there are a couple of vendors out there, Zotac and PNY in particular, sometimes MSI as well, where we do see some of those bigger price cuts. And I think based on the discounts we saw last year, we'll probably see the same thing. Let's start off with the RTX 4090. Listen, that card's back up to $1,729. And it's just going to be one of these things. If you want to get this level of performance, you're going to pay the piper. And right now, those cheaper models are all sold out. I don't know how much longer we're going to see this continue to be shipped into the US. Remember, AI is driving everything right now for NVIDIA. Not necessarily the consumer gaming desktop market, but you can still pick one up right now for $1,729, $1,739. Although the RTX 5090 is supposedly launching by the end of the year. RTX 4080 and 4080 Super, remember, no performance difference between the two, down to $949. Love to see it. Here it is. It's a 4080 model. If you want a 4080 Super, it's like $20 more. $949, it's a good model, it's a good cooler. It's a pretty decent value, but again, 5080 supposedly launching by the end of the year, although we have no idea what kind of volume they're going to be launching. 4070 Ti Super down to $769. Again, love to see that right now. And look at this with a fantastic price protection. What is going on with that? Does that mean that these GPUs are the ones that will see price cuts? We'll have to wait and see, I guess. RTX 4070 Super, not really any price changes, $569. Although I do see a couple out there with the fantastic price protection on them that I suspect we'll see some price cuts, and especially like the Zotac ones. Again, Zotac typically does discount their GPUs more than the other vendors out there. Although I will say right now, the cheapest one is actually the MSI Ventus after the rebate and the $10 promo code that gets you down at $569. RTX 4070 is really interesting because right now it's back to $529. That's kind of where maybe it needs to be. For $40, I don't see why you wouldn't buy the 4070 Super instead, but it might be a harbinger of what kind of discounts we can expect. Right now, this is the one that is $529 with a $30 promo code, obviously. Again, fantastic price protection. I don't know if their hand is being tipped, but I do know that last year, this one right here was the cheapest one, and that was before the 4070 Super launched on Prime Day and on Black Friday. Then going down the stack, the RTX 4060 Ti 16 gigabyte, look at that. They're cutting the price on that to $419. Now, I will say there's two models out there. There's the Zotac one with the $20 promo code out there that gets you there, or the one with the $20 rebate and then the $10 promo code from MSI. And all these, by the way, are flagged for that fantastic price protection out there. So 2 thumbs up there. We'll have to wait and see if this GPU is finally going to start to be competitive out there. I think it really needs to be below $400. Rounding out the rest of the stack, honestly, not that much interesting out there. The RTX 4060 is down a little bit. The 3060 12 gigabyte kind of back to $274. Hopefully we'll see some better price units out there for Prime Day. And the RTX 3050, the terrible performance GPU, finally under $200 for 2 months in a row. All right, let's go through some of the GPU discounts that I think you're gonna see on Amazon Prime Day and Newegg Fantastic, all the other sales associated with it, based on what has been in the past. If you're watching this video after the sales, let me know down in the comments. How did I do on these projections? And this is gonna be based on Black Friday from last year and Amazon Prime Day from last year, both the one in October and the one in July, because I'm starting to see patterns. You start to see patterns when all you do is look at GPU prices all the time. In terms of making it rain, AMD is usually the one who makes it rain in terms of discounts, both on their CPUs and their GPUs on these big sales. In terms of the CPUs, I also do expect Intel to be making it rain on older generation stuff. We'll have a whole build video that goes up for Prime Day builds, probably just before it starts. But let's focus in on GPUs. That's what you're here to watch, right? GPUs. So in terms of the GPUs, I expect anything RX 6000 series, I expect them to just try and absolutely liquidate that series. 6700 XT, 6750 XT, 6800. And there is still one model out there of the 6800 XT and even the 6950 XT. Look for discounts on those. We'll be posting them, obviously, so follow us on Twitter. Check out our YouTube community page for more. Also, the RX 6600, probably going to see some discounts on those, although I don't expect the 6600 to just go away. I kind of think they're making those just to continue to keep something in the low-end market out there. In terms of the RX 7000 series GPUs, look at this. This is just last month in June. The 7900 GRE, and just a nice model too, a 3-fan model, got down to $499. I suspect this is AMD kind of testing out the waters in terms of discounts for Prime Day especially. So I would expect the 7900 GRE, probably the 7900 XT to get significant discounts, because remember, they probably want to clear the decks, especially ahead of RX 8000 series cards that we expect next year. And they probably have quite a few of these cards to get rid of right now. So 7900 GRE, 7900 XT, probably the 7800 XT and the 7700 XT as well. Switching over to the NVIDIA side, I do expect kind of the same discounts we saw last year on like the RTX 3060 12 gigabyte and the RTX 4070 and 4070 Ti Super models, along with the RTX 4070 Super out there. Who's going to lead the way? It's going to be 2 names. It's going to be Zotac and possibly MSI. I suspect Zotac is getting ready to just dump whatever remaining RTX 4000 series stock, or this will be one of their dump points for it. We're expecting the 5080 and the 5090 at least to paper launch by the end of this year. These cards are all going to take a price hit anyway. They might as well sell them off now. Now, you might be, Jason, I'm going to wait for the 5080. Well, it might be until January, February until you're actually able to get one, despite whenever they're announced and despite whenever they go on paper launch out there. So this might be a good opportunity if you're looking to pick up a GPU for pretty good performance at probably the best price you're going to find before those launches. Let's jump into our best GPU in the July of 2024. If you're not familiar with how we do this, we take all the GPUs that we're tracking, both in terms of the new ones as well as used values with more than 8 gigs of VRAM. We take their current performance, we take their price, we get a price to performance for each one of them, and then we divide them out 1080p, 1440p, and 4K, etc., etc. If you want to download this spreadsheet, if you want to get in here, put in your own numbers for your pricing, these are all obviously all US prices. It's linked down in the video description, so check that out. All right, let's jump into the best GPU under $200 in July of 2024. And look at that. Used GPU prices are absolutely falling through the floor right now. GPU miners, whoever has anything left, is fire selling that stuff off. And if you just need a GPU to get you started for like $50, the RX 570 8GB, get the 8GB, don't get the 4GB models, trash, for $54. But if you've got closer to $100, I was saying get the 1070. I'd say at this point, get the 1070 Ti or reach up and get the 1080 Ti with 11 gigabytes of VRAM for $133. Yes, I know some of you out there screaming in the comments, Jason, that's a 6-year-old GPU, could be end of life. Possibly, if you have a little bit more money to spend and you want something kind of new, the Arc A580 for $149 or the A750 for $179. Remember, the pool of games in which those GPUs don't work at all or don't work that well is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Although, if you don't want to put up with that at all, the RX 6600, $179. But I will say, kind of a sneaker used value out there, the RTX 2080 and 2080 Super has fallen to $200. Quite a bit of performance. Yes, only 8 gigs of VRAM. Yes, it's an older RTX card, but it's not that old out there. Might be something to take a look at. Moving over to the best GPU under $300 in July 2024. Remember, we're only looking at new models now. We already talked about the Arc cards, A750, A580, and the RX 6600. All continue to be great values under $200. But if you're going to spend a little bit more, honestly, we've got a number of GPUs now with 12 and 16 gigs of VRAM that are under $300. Now, I cheated a little bit. I made it $310 just so you could see where the 7600 XT kind of lies in the value calculation. It's really the only GPU we were excluding with that price category. So what would I do here if I had a little bit more money to spend? Obviously, the 6750 XT, just insane price to performance, 12 gigs of VRAM, $289. But I know a number of you are in markets where that just doesn't exist. So then, given roughly the same pricing, I like the A770 if you're willing to put up with maybe 5% of the games not running as well as you'd like them to. $269, 16 gigs of VRAM. Like that quite a bit. If you don't want to put up with that, I would probably just take the plunge and go to $309 with this 7600 XT. Again, I think that GPU needs to come down in price, or if you can find an RTX 3060 12 gigabyte, that's also when I do expect we're going to see some Prime Day discounts, although we'll probably see Prime Day discounts on the 7600 XT as well. So I expect those GPUs to really target for Prime Day discounts, or if you don't have the 6750 XT in your market. All right, let's go to the best 1440p GPU 2024 in July. Now, this is where it's under $600 and the GPU score is 100 or greater. So it's an RTX 3060, 12 gigabyte or faster. That gives you about 60 FPS across a wide range of titles, although primarily single player, harder to run titles at 1440p ultra settings. Obviously, if you play like CS2 or competitive shooters, multiplayer games, you're getting a lot more FPS than that. Let's jump in. The RX 6800. I know this is kind of like almost a US only thing, so we won't spend a lot of time, but at $349, insane value. Prime Day discount is probably going to make it just one of the best values of GPUs probably ever on the planet, okay? So pick that thing up if you can. 6750 XT we've already talked about, but let's talk about GPUs that might be in your market. RX 7000 series just killing it out there. 7700 XT, more price cuts. 7800 XT got more price cuts. The 7900 GRE didn't get any price cuts. We expect though, especially with that kind of price testing that they did last month, probably going to see that under $500 around Prime Day. I'm just guessing here, but I think that's a pretty educated guess. Any of those right there, phenomenal values. I don't honestly think you could go wrong with any of them. Then you go down and like, what else is here? It's 7600 XT kind of pales in comparison, unless of course you can't afford to go higher and you don't have something like the 6700 XT in your market. Then maybe that's the one to focus on for Prime Day discounts. And then if you want an NVIDIA GPU, it gets rough out there. The 3060 12 gigabyte, but that's slow compared to everything else out here. The 4070 is $529, over $500 for 12 gigs of VRAM. The 4070 Super, almost $600 for 12 gigs of VRAM. It starts to sound a little bit insane, but if you have to have NVIDIA, those are probably the ones I would pick up, because even the 4060 Ti with its price cuts, it's not looking that good out there in terms of price to performance. Jumping over the best 1440p 240Hz GPU in July 2024. So this is where the GPU score 180 or greater, and we've got 12 gigs or more of VRAM. So these cards are considerably more powerful than what we were just looking at. Honestly, the 7800 XT, 7900 GRE just continue to dominate in terms of price to performance. They are in a league by themselves right now, and if we factor in Prime Day price cuts up there, they'll probably be pretty insane values. If you want NVIDIA, the 4070 Super, well, it looks better because we filtered out some of the other cards out of here. It's probably not that great. It's like the same price to performance as the 7900 XT, but the 7900 XT is way more performative. Typically, as you go up the product stack with more and more performant GPUs, you start paying more and more of a price premium than you do at the lower end. So the 4070 Super really needs to come down in price, I think. Really, maybe we'll see some steeper price cuts during Prime Day to help it out there. 7900 XT, really hard to argue against out there. Another phenomenal value. The 4070 Ti Super, I just wouldn't buy that card for 1440p. You certainly can, of course. I'd probably look at it more like at 4K, where like DLSS and some of those other feature sets, ray tracing kind of come into effect more. And then honestly, I would just ignore the rest of this stack. There's not really any, I wouldn't get a 7900 XTX. I wouldn't probably get a 4080 or 4080 Super or 4090, not for 1440p gaming. All right, finishing out the best 4K GPU in July 2024 right now. So this is where the GPU score is 200 or greater, and we have at least 16 gigs of VRAM on there. So like the 7800 XT, top of the list right there, killing it. Now, how much performance can you expect across a wide range of single player titles at 4K with no upscaling on it? Anywhere from like 65 up to 75 average FPS across a wide range of games. If you're going to play competitive shooters, obviously you're going to get tons more FPS out there in those kind of multiplayer titles. But that's the performance expectation. 459, not bad. Remember, this is also where upscaling at 4K will give you a lot more FPS, and it will look a lot better. It will look a lot better than it will at those lower resolutions. So upscaling is definitely a factor here if you want to look at some of these. And if you want to say, hey, DLSS might be a little bit better technology, then AMD's upscaling solution, I certainly could look at that as well. But 7800 XT, 7900 GRE, and the 7900 XT, phenomenal values and kind of in a league of their own. The 4070 Ti Super, I really feel like that GPU needs some price cuts. Again, if you're looking for ray tracing though, that's the GPU I would really hone in on. And if you're looking for probably DLSS at 4K, again, that would be my pick. Even over something like the 4080 or 4080 Super, although they are a little bit more competitive this month than they have been, I just don't see the extra GPU power versus the price out there. And obviously, if you just have to have all the FPS and all the performance right now, the RTX 4090 remains the king, but the time grows short from what we hear in terms of the RTX 5090 launching. So I'm not sure I'd pull the trigger on the RTX 4090 just yet, although we don't know what the pricing is going to be for the 5090. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? Well, what are you waiting for, right? It's Amazon Prime Day. I know some of you out there are probably going to say, Jason, what about Black Friday? Aren't we going to get better discounts? Aren't we going to be closer? Aren't they going to be cutting prices? I'm going to tell you this. I looked at GPU prices in terms of Prime Day and Black Friday from last year. Just going on that, Prime Day actually had some better discounts than even Black Friday. That means some of you out there, if you waited for nothing, or you waited to pay a little bit more. If it were me and you want to buy something and you're just trying to get the best discount, Prime Day typically has the best ones in July. Second is now Black Friday. I know that's hard to believe, but that just seems to be the way it is. Let's go through budget by budget though. At the budget level, nothing new is coming out anytime soon. Yes, we do expect RX 8000 series GPUs sometime in the first quarter of 2025, maybe the second quarter. It's really hard to say. And those GPUs are likely still going to be $300 to $400 GPUs at a minimum. So if you're looking for something under $300, take advantage of this market right now. There's huge amounts of performance out there. If you're more in the mid-range, so you're looking to spend, $400 to $600 on your GPU, again, what is coming for you? What is coming for you? Possibly those RX 8000 series GPUs, but again, you're waiting for something that number one hasn't been announced, has kind of all over the place in terms of release dates. I would just go ahead and take advantage of some of the insane deals out there. And the other thing is, your time is valuable. Remember, your time has value. Don't be one of those people, I'm going to wait. And then the next thing comes, I'm going to wait. There's always something to wait for out there. You just got to pick your spot. If you're ready to get gaming, if you're ready to build a new gaming PC, or you're ready to upgrade your GPU in that kind of mid-range, I'd go ahead and pull the trigger. Now, for those of you at the higher end, it depends. The upper mid-range folks, I would probably say, like if I saw a 7900 XT on a good sale, or even 689, it's not bad, man. If I saw one on a good sale, I might just be motivated to buy it. At the high end, I wouldn't buy a 7900 XTX without a significant discount. Probably wouldn't buy a 4080, 4080 Super, or 4090 right now, because we got the 5080 and the 5090 coming. Though, of course, we don't know in what kind of quantities. We don't know if those are GPUs you're going to be able to get, or they're going to be scalped for like 3 or 4 months. So there's all that uncertainty around it. So just take all this into account because those GPUs are also not coming at least until the end of this year. And that can be quite a ways off. So those are just some things to think about at the various budget levels. Remember, all the GPUs are linked down in the video description. Check those out for current pricing and availability, and check out our community page and our Twitter for deals during Prime Day. Of course, if you got value out of this video, give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe, click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool PC content. Hey, if you're thinking about upgrading or building a new gaming PC and you're looking for a budget gaming PC under $750, maybe $650, check out this video right here. These budget gaming PC builds, likely a lot of the components are gonna be on sale for Prime Day. Check them out, they're amazing. And we'll catch you on the next one.